Did the ancient Sumerians predict the end of the world? Now, we know that we have found tremendous ancient technology before the Great Flood, before the Clovis comet, the Younger Dryas comet, about 13,000 years ago. If you see two videos before this one, collision with massive comet could be nearer than we thought. Something explained to us by Graham Hancock and Magicians of the Gods. The Göbekli Tepe findings show that the ancients built that complex, showing us that a comet will be returning in our present time. In other words, they were foretelling us to keep alert, because that would be recurring in our time because of the celestial sky showing our sky. Now, what happens here with these ancient Sumerians? What did they predict? People have been predicting the end of the world almost as long as the world has existed. Whether they thought the world would end far in the future or the very next day. There are a plethora of doomsday predictions to be found when studying ancient civilizations. One huge question is whether the Sumerians predicted the end of the world or not. Many of those old prophecies have sparked modern intrigue. People connecting the old signs and interpreting possible dates to lead to the present or near future. In today's day and age, we'll all live through the quote-unquote end of the world scenarios several times. Some of these world-ending predictions are biblical, foretelling the rapture. Then there are other theories like the widespread worry that the world would end in 2012 with the Mayan calendar, when the Mayan calendar ran out. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box. The turn of the millennium as well seems to spark some anxiety. One premise that's been hanging around for a while, but recently gained some tracking back in 2017, is that the world will end due to a collision from planet Nibiru, or planet X, known as planet X. And there's been some talk lately of something perturbing the outer solar system planets and Kuiper belt objects, and they call that Planet 9. Anyway, Nibiru, Planet 9, Nemesis, whatever. Now, we've also lately found that our Earth must probably have a binary sun, or brown dwarf star somewhere out there. Now, the margins of the lore surrounding Nibiru can be traced all the way back to the ancient Sumerians, one of the first civilizations in the world. But did the Sumerians actually predict the end of the world, or is the Nibiru prediction just another far-fetched theory? The word of Zecharia Sitchin and ancient astronauts. Much of the interest and speculation surrounding Nibiru can be traced back to Zecharia Sitchin. Sitchin, between 1920 and 2010, was a scholar who worked on translating ancient Sumerian and Akkadian texts and tablets, and linking his translations to interpretations of the iconography. Sitchin developed a theory concerning how Sumerians thought of the supposed planet Nibiru, the end of the world, and how their gods intertwined with it all. His theories can be found in his best-selling book, The 12th Planet. And since then, people all over the world have picked up his series and ran with them, expanding and twisting their possible meanings and consequences. And we'll get into the key issue of aspects of Sitchin's work, modern thought surrounding Nibiru and the end of the world. Who were the Sumerians? Sumer was one of the first civilizations that we have any knowledge of having existed, dating back to at least 4,500 BC. The Sumerians settled in the northern part of Mesopotamia, and Sumer consisted of several large cities. Now we know that Ur was the city of where Abraham came out of to go to the Promised Land. That was in Sumeria. Now, though not much archaeological evidence is left of Sumer, there are tablets and inscriptions that have lent insight into their language, culture, and the way of life. Scholars have been able to uncover a rich tapestry of their mythology and stories through translation and interpretation. Nibiru and Planet X. So far, we've mentioned Nibiru a whole lot, but what is its actual significance? Supposedly, Nibiru is an additional planet in our solar system that the Sumerians documented and named. Though Sitchin's research of Nibiru culminates in the 12th planet, we should more tend to think about Nibiru as a potential 9th or 10th planet, if you still count Pluto, planet to our solar system. Sitchin uses the iconography of the sun, surrounded by numerous planets, in order to support his theory that the Sumerians were not only aware of Nibiru, but placed special significance on it. But with science as advanced as it is, how can there be an extra planet in our own solar system that we don't know about, especially when the ancient Sumerians did? This can be explained by the proposed orbit of the planet 9, Nibiru, planet 10, Nibiru, also referred to interchangeably as planet X. Nibiru's supposed orbit around the sun is much larger and more elongated than the other planets in our solar system. In fact, Sitchin states that one full rotation around the sun takes about 3,600 years. So that's just about now. If we take the time frame of the Exodus and the eruption of the Santorini volcano, which happened about 1,500 BC, so plus 2,000, we're almost there, 3,600 years. Now, and also, we only come into contact with the planet every several millennia. Sitchin ties several biblical and historical events to the presence of Nibiru, even claiming that the Great Flood of the Bible occurred because of the gravitational pull that Nibiru caused. Though the crossing of Nibiru and Earth should be a good deal off base on Sitchin's proposed timelines, the followers of the idea claim that the length of the orbit can, of course, change due to shifting gravitational pulls over the course of the centuries, and this would mean that a potential crossing could happen much sooner than we'd otherwise think. And more fascinating than the planet itself, however, are its supposed inhabitants, the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki and the evolution of the human race. Simply speaking, the term Anunnaki, we're talking about extraterrestrials here, or the Atlanteans. Even the ancient Greeks thought that their Olympus gods were extraterrestrials, Anunnaki-type Atlanteans. So speaking, the term Anunnaki refers to the pantheon of gods worshipped by the Sumerians, Akkadians, Babylonians, and Syrians, and even ancient Greeks. These so-called gods were descending from An, the god of the sky, more prevalent gods and goddesses that have found their way into cultures including Marduk and Inanna, who has been frequently conflated with the later Ishtar. Also, the ancient Sumerians worshipped a bunch of gods like most other societies. So what? How does this ancient Sumerian mythology and religion have anything to do with the planet Nibiru? Well, if you heard that the Anunnaki were not gods at all, but instead aliens, we're talking about extraterrestrials, Sitchin's theory of the Anunnaki falls right in line with what you'd expect to see on the episode of Ancient Aliens. And we're talking here about Nephilim, of course. If you're going to Sitchin's theory, the Anunnaki were, or potentially still are, an advanced race native to the planet Nibiru that came to Earth most likely to mine minerals, particularly gold, that their own planet and atmosphere was lacking. And upon coming to Earth, they created and bred humans to serve as their slaves and complete this labor. Sitchin uses this forced hand in evolution to explain away evolutionary gaps and missing links. And so, being more powerful and advanced, the Anunnaki instituted themselves as quote-unquote gods among their human slaves, when in reality they were just strange and advanced aliens, advanced in technology. This idea falls in line with the now popular premise of ancient astronauts, or the theory that in the distant past, advanced civilizations came to Earth from foreign planets and posed as gods. This set of theories is often used to explain away surprising advanced ancient technology and constructions. Sitchin conflates his theory of the Anunnaki with the biblical Nephilim, or sons of God, quote-unquote, who were said to have interbred with humankind. Good old Sitchin certainly did like to tie in his theology. It also proposed the members of the Anunnaki disapproving of this. As such, they did not warn the humans of the negative effects the Earth would face when Nibiru came too close, its gravitational pull thus causing the Great Flood. But you shouldn't worry about Nibiru triggering the apocalypse. The Sumerians didn't. This reference is from Ancient Code. It's on Humans Are Free. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support.